I'm gonna go ahead and read something I found uh, during my studies. Found out that the resources, well, mainly the gold that Solomon mined all over the world and hoarded. Well, maybe he wasn't a hoarder. I think he was utilizing the funds, the money fairly all over the world until he screwed up, with by giving in to the lust of his wife and building an idol. Uh, so those resources, mainly the gold that he found, uh, was hoarded by the sinners, the Edomites, psychos, and a large portion of that is hidden in the Philippines. So this right here is an agreement that I found just the other day about that, because I found out years ago that a gentleman named Wolfgang was the beneficiary of that trust that Solomon's gold is being held in. And I don't know if the world is fighting over that gold or what, but I think that is the case. Okay. So this says it's from the Central Bank of the Philippines. I wish I knew how to screen share. Somebody could teach me that maybe. Central Bank of the Philippines, Office of the Board of Governors. Bilateral MINESFIELD Breakthrough Successor Agreement. Signed for 50 years, gold reserve. Loan program ended 2005 for special proviso. 1% interest per annum. And it has quite a few signatures on it. I can't read them. They're all sloppy as fuck. Know All Men by these presents. This bilateral MINESFIELD Breakthrough Successor Agreement entered into this 11th of August 1950 by and between for the successor heir for a time being, represented in behalf of Tiburcio Villamor Marcos, code name TVM LSM 666. The only successor of Prince Julian Macleod Tilano, Her Majesty Queen of Spain Isabel II, owner of parcel of land covered by OCT 014-4, gold bullion, code 777. Arbor King, ABA JPR Luna, and other code registered in the Bank International Settlement based in Boston and Switzerland, and other asset owned by El Banco Español Filipino de Isabel II, located in Intramuros, Manila, Philippines. And the peoples of the Republic of the Philippines, represented by His Excellency El Pedillo Carino. Okay, you gotta excuse me calling these people by their the titles that they've given themselves, because they're not excellent. I'm just reading verbatim. Board of Governor of Central Bank of the Philippines, Miguel Cuaderno Sr., and the Monetary Authority of two secure sums. Let me read that again. The peoples of the Republic of the Philippines, represented by His Excellency El Pedillo Carino, Board of Governor of Central Bank of the Philippines, Miguel Cuaderno Sr., and the Monetary Authority to secure sums, producing in the aggregate and the effective sum to back up the Philippine currency as legal tender, equivalent of 1,000 of metric tons of gold, and real estate properties known as Code of 01-4 and Code of 010-L-50. Page 1 through 6, cloaked for secrecy. Z's present bilateral MINESFIELD breakthrough successor agreement enter into code of LSM 666, asset owner for a time being. Between the government of the Philippines, represented by President Elpidio Corino, Chairman of the Monetary Board Authority of the Central Bank of the Philippines, represented by Dishonorable Miguel Quaderno Sr., attested by the House of Congress Committee in accordance with the Republic Act 265 with Security Code 5020. Both parties agreed and issued under provision of trust deposit under the International Banking Law of Bailment, represented by the owner as bailer and the Central Bank of the Philippines as bailee, as provided in UCC Section 2-403C, Chapter 19. The successor, heir, owner, sole, signatory provided in the law of ownership in accordance with the Article 426, 427, and 428, as the only one have discretionary power to move or remove after maturity in the year 2005, as integral part of the bilateral MINESFIELD successor agreement as follows. The present are successor heir of Prince Julian McLeod Talano and Queen Isabel II and III, Maria Cristina III, known as Cruz Villamor Talano's family clan, and the truster Fr. Jose Antonio Diaz, alias Severino Sta. Romana, with 18 aliases. William Villamor Morales et al., and the mandate legal counsel Congressman Ferdinand Edgerlin Marcos, asset manager of code TVM-LSM-666, called as depositor in trust. Whereas by virtue of all power in them hereunto, enabling the President of the Republic of the Philippines under the management of the Central Bank of the Philippines through Chairman of the Board and Monetary Authority represented by Dishonorable Governor Miguel Quaderno Sr., in accordance with Central Bank General Order Number 1, Republic Act 265 to maturity 2005, approved and amended. So it says 2005, so I believe I'm gonna have to do a lot more research. I need some intelligent people on this team here. You know, I need a secretary and treasurer and all these other things to raise funds to get a ID machine so that we can make IDs for our nation. We also gonna need to research this. I don't, you know, because after 2005, I'm pretty sure that they switched up things to continue cloaking this to keep it kind of unknown to the public. So we're gonna have to find out the newest information and the newest route, the most feasible route to address this situation. Okay, page 2 through 6, cloak for secrecy. This is number 3. Whereas, refer to this bilateral MINESFIELD breakthrough successor agreement, the sole successor heir, embodied in the gift of love, proclaimed by the President of the Republic of the Philippines since 11th of August 1949, assisted by Central Bank Governor Miguel Quaderno Sr., Prime Minister Chiang Kai-shek of the Republic of China, Princess Isabel III, grandmother of Tiburcio Villamor Marcos, code name TVM-LSM-666. Constituted under Treaty of Perpetual as the means of balancing to protect the law of ownership, Article 426, 427, and 428, Security Code 5020. All asset deposited in trust in Central Bank of the Philippines, duly approved and amended under the code of 010-L-50, maturity 2005. Number 4, whereas any portion of the loan program for the Republic of the Philippines through Central Bank shall share to other prime bank in the Philippines, including transfer of remittance from foreign to domestic. The Central Bank of the Philippines is authorized trust servicing bank as keeper of the gold bullion code 010-L-50, owned by the LSM until maturity comes agreed and approved. Number 5, whereas the loan program with interest of 1% per annum, the sole successor heir shall also agree to pay the bank charges as integral part of his collectible from 1% interest per annum deductible upon maturity date of the investment program recorded into ledger to ledger and vault to vault transaction, followed by inventory list up to balance sheet in accordance with this provision of bilateral MINESFIELD breakthrough successor agreement. It was approved and amended. Number 6, whereas the sole heir owner shall be responsible to give any information regarding the history of ownership, followed by the issuance of the certificate of entitlement, master account code authenticated by the Office of the Governor, Office of the Board of Governor of the Federal Reserve System in coordination of the United States Treasury, World Bank and International Monetary Fund under secrecy of bank deposit approved and amended with official seal as Annex -A. That's page 3 of 6. Page 4, section 7. Whereas all original certificate of deposit, safekeeping receipt, and other bank instruments shall keep in the vault of the bank except for issuance of reference copy in favor to trust deposit in favor. Whereas all original certificate of deposit, safekeeping receipt, and other bank instruments shall keep in the vault of the bank except for issuance of reference copy in favor to trust depositor. In case the said negotiable instrument document at any time becomes mutilated or destroyed, lost, or the original certificate, safekeeping receipt, delivery receipt, the bank must issue a new one. Section 8, whereas the U.S. Security Council, U.S. Federal Reserve System, and the U.S. Treasury identified the code of sole successor heir owner based in his trust account under C1C2C 1921. There's all dashes in between those letters and numbers. Appeared in the special trust certificate of deposit backup by gold code 777, protected by Treaty of Perpetual, Treaty of Paris, Treaty of Versailles, and Treaty of Agreement. It was approved and amended by the League of the Nations. Section 9, whereas all original certificate of trust depositor, trust receipt of account, delivery receipt shall be issued by the Central Bank of the Philippines before transporting to other prime banks around the world. The assets-commodities declared free from all liens and encumbrances, no criminal origin, free from taxes, with custom duty and insurance company approved and amended. Okay, I mean, this whole thing is of course a sham and has been claimed by this particular royal family here, or unroyal family, but you know what I mean. According to the satanic world, they are royal. Um, and it says here that they have declared it free and clear with no criminal origin, and it can't be a lien can't be placed on it, which a lien was placed on it by the United States government. They placed a $14 trillion lien on some of these assets here. But of course, they're lying, and they have stole these funds with this gold from the lineage, the Israelite lineage. You know, whenever David and Solomon mined gold around the world, and they kept it wherever they kept it, the conquerors came in and stole the gold, and then they handed it down through their family. Since then, from the years what, from 900, 800, 700, 600, 650 BC, and they've been passing down the gold throughout their generations until today, and they just make it more complicated to lay a claim on the gold with all their legalese, and you know that's a language that they use that has infinite loopholes to where they can just write anything in their magical phrases to make assets move from one location to another, and so that they can utilize it any way they choose to. And they normally choose to oppress anyone they want based on that movement, and they're not fair in their rulership of the earth. So that's why the Israelites have to reclaim rulership of the earth, so that we can reclaim these assets and the land, and allocate the assets properly, because they don't. It appears that they may want to, but they're not doing a good job of well, there may not be enough people to that have a fair mindset and a biblical mindset, because they use their constitution, their world constitution, the whole satanic world constitution from top to bottom that we see now, outside of the biblical constitution, which no one is utilizing right now, but they incorporate the biblical constitution into their constitution, and they make it universal. So they use all religions on earth, including Satanism, into their codes and laws and legalese jargon. So I say the Babylonian, they use the Babylonian law is their main law from then to now, and that law in the satanic world trumps everything. But they do realize that Satan has a leader that is well above him, and so they will default to biblical law based on that understanding that they have, because they do realize that there's a spirit world, and that whenever they do, they're bound by biblical law. Everything in God's realm is controlled by whatever he says, and the Israelites recorded those things. So when you apply that law into their world, they just automatically just do whatever you tell them to do, as long as it's according to the will of the Father. Section 10, resolve. Where we hereby resolved, in accordance with Receipt Law, Act 2137, Section 1, duly approved and amended. So let me check, see here for 1 second. Okay, great. No one's a part of the group, and no one's paying attention. So that's great. So this will be recorded, and I'll be placing it on my page on Facebook. So number 11, resolve further the rights and duties of Baylor and Bailee. The Bailee, which is the Bank of Philippines, must exercise care so as not to permit injury to or destruction of the properties of TVM-LSM-666 by himself or third party after maturity date. The Bailee return the property in good faith by virtue of the rule of Trilateral Society of Global Funder must disagree to Article 61 made by the Embargo Act 1807 shall be implemented without court order. Unanimously approved and amended. Okay. Done in the office of the Board of Governors of Central Bank of the Philippines this 11th of August in the year of our Lord, 1950. Okay, now I can read the signatures because they have print writing under it. And it was signed by Elpidio Perino, the President, Republic of the Philippines. It was signed by Sergio Osmena, mandate of the Cruz Villamor Telanos family clan property, OCT 01-4. It was also signed by Harry S. Truman, President of the United States of America. It was also signed by Chiang Kai-shek, the President and Director General, Republic of China. It was also signed by General Dwight Eisenhower, Supreme Commander of the Allied Nations. It was also signed by Mao Zedong, Chairman of the People's Communist Party of the People's Republic of China. It was also signed by Zhou Enlai, the Prime Minister, People's Republic of China. It was also signed by Jose Antonio C. Velamo, representing new successor heir, codename TVM-LSM-666. It was also signed by Princess Inamicia Cruz Villamor, representing the new successor heir, codename TVM-LSM-666. It was also signed by Isabel III, representing Banco Español Filipino de Isabel II, Gold Bullion Code 010-L-50, Flat Quran Abba Kingfisher, Harbor King. It was also signed by Maria Cristina III, representing Hacienda Filipina Archipelago, OCT 01-4. It was also signed by Francisco Franco, head of state of Spain. It was also signed by Miguel Cuaderno Sr., the chairman of the Board of Governors, Central Bank of the Philippines. It was also signed by Jose Batista Cruz, the trust depositor of C-1-C-2 for TVM-LSM-666. It was also signed by President Jose Antonio Diaz, the alias serving STA Romana et al., trust depositor for TVM-LSM-666. It was also signed by Ferdinand E. Marcos, the legal counsel for TVM-LSM-666. Ferdinand E. Marcos. That name sounds real familiar. So if anyone has any history about Ferdinand Marcos, okay, Because I'm thinking back along. I'm thinking along the lines of okay, when he was coming up, I may be thinking about someone else. I'm thinking about a gentleman down there in Mexico somewhere that came up and tried to set a gold standard for the people, and was arrested and killed on the rooftop. But that might be someone different. But if you know anything about that history, then please share. Tan. It was also signed by Tang Kai Ko, the trust depositor for TVM-LSM-666. It was also signed by Fred Ruiz Castro, Vice Chairman, Philippine National Bank. Yeah, okay, that sounds like the Castro family to me. So that might have some significance in why he was destroyed. Whatever. I'm just reading what I found. I've never read this before, so I'm reading for the first time with you. Republic of the Philippines. This is page 6. Republic of the Philippines, City of Manila. Before me, another Republic of the City of Manila under the IBP, the International Bank of the Philippines, rule personally appeared His Excellency Elpidio Quirino, Dishonorable Sergio Osmina, His Excellency Harry S. Truman, President and Director General Chiang Kai-shek, Supreme Commander, the White Eisenhower, Chairman Mao Zedong. These names, these titles that they give themselves is ridiculous. Prime Minister Zhou Enlai, Dishonorable Jesus Antonio C. Villamor, Princess Indonesia C. Villamor, Princess Isabel III, Princess Maria Cristina III, Head of State Francisco Franco, Governor of Central Bank of the Philippines Miguel Quaderno, Senior Honorable Jose Batista Cruz, Fr. Jose Antonio Diaz, alias Severino, Sta. Romana et al., Dishonorable Ferdinand E. Marcos, and Tan Kai Ki, who signed and witnessed the bilateral MINESFIELD breakthrough successor agreement in favor to Tiburcio Villamor Marcos, coded name TVM-LSM-666, as the new successor heir and owner for a time being. All known to me and known to be the same persons who executed this instrument on their voluntary act and deed. Witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and seal this 11th of August 1950. Well, I'm pretty sure this the Notary Republic is completely 100% dead, but the record is still here though. Document number 1301, page number 83, book number 36, series of 1950. The attorney is Fred Ruiz Castro. Notary Public until December 31, 1950. PTR number, whatever that is, 836-9769. Okay, and that's the end of that agreement there. But I found that pretty interesting read. And I mean, I'm just trying to find some people that are 100% smarter than me, because I don't know nothing. God just tells me what to do, and I try to do it the best I can. So, but we need to act out the prophecies. I know that much. And the prophecy says that we're going to accuse the nations. Repentant Israel is going to accuse the nations, which has been happening for a long time now. So I would, since things are being amplified and sped up, the time is being sped up in order to shorten the days to save the elect. I'm suspecting that we're supposed to accuse the nations formally uh, on like an international platform and lay out the demand, what we want done about the injustices that have occurred over the past 2,500 years, 2,700 years. So that's a lot of accrued interest. So, I'll just interject here my plan, and then I want to hear from everyone else on how uh, what they propose, and I'm just going strictly by Bible prophecy. Says that the meek will inherit the earth. So uh, I know for a fact they are so corrupt that they're not just going to come over and hand it to us on silver platters, door to door. And I'm not under the understanding that this will happen only through uh, us beating their asses. So once this formal accusations of these families, especially that family and the other families, who've all conspired to make Israel no longer a nation and their name no longer known in the earth. Well, they tried to cover that up in 1948 because in the 1800s, when I want to call them the Quakers, the Puritans, and things like this here, people who were unbiasedly sincere to the Bible, returned the Bible to the slaves around the world, including America. And when those slaves read this Bible, many of them realized and remembered the old oral traditions, and they started to make sense to them. So they started to wake up and say, "Oh man, oh okay, we're the Israelites. We forgot. We're trying to wake up, And as they uh, adhered to the laws of the Bible, freedom became prevalent among them. So they, you know, ultimately culminating into Emancipation Act, where uh, the slaves were transferred to the state instead of individual sharecroppers. So now we're slaves to the state, which is more, I guess it's more feasible for them, those clowns, to do that. I don't know. I guess that's their reason. It prevents the outright civil war that was going on, and it transferred it to just automatically you're a slave of the state, and then they can continue to have perpetual slave labor based on manipulating all laws to make everything that we do as an individual nation and family, and our quirks and just things that Israel naturally does, make all of those things illegal. So then when they catch anyone just being themselves, they can lock them up and have free labor. So of course that, that's what happened, under apartheid, the American apartheid. So I guess I'll move on to the Q&A on the gold coming out of hiding. Okay, who is able and willing to end the corruption in the international financial system and bring the world's gold out of hiding? There's a big coalition in place, and it includes the BRICS: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. What is that coalition? The rule of law. The chances that we end the terrible corruption in the international financial system is 90 to 95%. Okay, I'm looking at a link here. It says that's where they got this quote from. So they have a Q&A here, and it shows where they received the information from. The United States is joining this coalition. Just as soon as the good people of the United States recognize that the unconstitutional Federal Reserve note is simply an imposter, the US dollar is alive and well and living here in the global debt facility. Those dollars are printed by Ronald Reagan after his Grace Commission showed how all of our tax dollars are going to pay interest on that scam called Federal Reserve notes. That is why John Hinckley tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan. The U.S. Secret Service is in service to the Federal Reserve and not in service to the United States citizens. What is the Global Debt Facility? That is a trust fund established by Jose Rizal and his lawyer, Ferdinand Marcos, at the end of World War II. The trust contains the world's wealth, including 1,750,000 metric tons of gold, other precious metals. Oh, see, they do have other resources. Art, right? Gems, and the title to land in the Philippines. Wolfgang Struck is the authorized signatory of the Global Debt Facility. The bilateral MINESFIELD Breakthrough Successor Agreement establishes procedures for the Global Debt Facility in paragraph 6. What is your role? I am the acting general counsel of the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and I am now working as counsel to Wolfgang Struck and with a coalition for the rule of law to return the world's gold in the Global Debt Facility to the world's people. And of course, if you're up on your Bible game, if you've been studying longer than 3 to 6 months as a repentant Israelite and are dedicated to not sinning and things like this of this nature, then you have already found out, who the people are. So it says a lot of people like when as far as the verbiage in what's that called, the Constitution of the United States, right? It says we, the Declaration of Independence, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, blah blah blah, right? Okay, now when they say people who are still caught up on this is Satan's kingdom and nothing is for you, instead of realizing that God puts everything in place and in motion and does everything for the purpose of refining a certain amount of people that think similarly to his thought patterns, so that as far as obedience and the basics of doing what's best for life to flourish and things of that nature. Okay, so these people don't realize that whenever all words are spoken, they're spoken based on what God wants done. Okay, so they say we the people in the United States. It was clearly talking about the Israelites. And if you watch that Abraham Lincoln movie, right, the serious one, Abraham Lincoln movie, you can hear the little boy. You gotta watch the little boy, the youngest brother, the youngest son of Abraham Lincoln, as he's acting crazy the whole time throughout the movie. But he's the most he shares the most knowledge throughout the movie. But I mean, it's numerous countless hints in there of who the Israelites are and stuff like that. But he mentions one, and then at the end, the proponent that was married to the black lady, the bed wench, when he was championing the Emancipation Proclamation and debating with the rest of the the Congress or whatever on the right or left, I can't remember which one. One of the guys proposed a question to him, said, "Oh man, he said, the blacks aren't." I'm paraphrasing because I forgot exactly what. It's been so long since I've seen that movie. He said that blacks are not equal to whites, and he said and the proponent of the Emancipation Proclamation that was married to the bed wench said, "You're absolutely right. Of course they're not equal to you, because you are the lowest scum of the earth," and blah, blah, blah. But see, he did not directly say that blacks are superior or Israel under our comprehension of the world. What he was trying to say is that Israelites are superior to pale people. I can't call them white because white means pure and they're not pure. Okay, so I just wanted to add that little tidbit. The Senate Committee on Foreign Relations told the World Bank not to fire me, but I was fired anyway because the banking cartel thinks it is above the law. So Senators Lugar, Lehigh, and Bay commissioned this GAO study. The Citizen Oversight. It's at citizenoversight.com. It's a PDF. So it's citizenoversight.com/PDF/BLWB.PDF. On November 4th, 2008, Congressman Chris Van Hollen informed me that he noted that my claims and concerns have already been provided to the GAO and to the relevant congressional committees. In March 2009, GAO stated that it could not commence the inquiry because of challenges we recently faced in gaining access to World Bank officials. Senator Lugar asked about the delay in the GAO review during hearings on the IBRD capital increase. The U.S. Congress required effects of retaliation against World Bank whistleblowers to be eliminated before the disbursement of the U.S. U.S. contribution to the World Bank's capital increase. And this is Section 7082 of the Consolidated Appropriations Act, 2012. Section 7048 A1B of the Consolidated Appropriations Act, 2014, published L 113-46. The Board of Governors reinstated me in settlement of my bondholder lawsuit on 12/20/2012. I could not get in the door because Allied Barton, the security firm owned by the banking cartel, refuses to let me in. I discussed my reinstatement in this video. So I'm gonna have to place these links in this video after I have recorded, I suppose. I'm doing my job as acting general counsel outside the World Bank with collaboration by the Board of Executive Directors and Board of Governors. I am also counsel for the authorized signatory on the Global Debt Facility and directed the Board of Governors during the spring meetings of the World Bank and IMF to resolve the currency crisis and bring the gold out of hiding. Here's my latest memo to the Board of Executive Directors at the World Bank. The editorial board of the ABA Journal reconsidered their decision to lock me out of the comment section in this following article. Sovereign citizens plaster courts with bogus legal filings. Here's the article in Newsweek in Spanish, referred to in the previous email. Okay, so that's the same article in Spanish. When is the world's gold coming out for its intended beneficiaries, the world's peoples? On July 16, 2014, I told the U.S. Defense Attaché in Tokyo that General Eisenhower had set aside the world's gold for the world's people, and that it needed to come out now, or the United States was going to go down with the insolvent Federal Reserve. Well, that makes sense. On July 16, 2014, I told the U.S. Defense Attaché in Tokyo that General Eisenhower had set aside the world's gold for the world's people, and that it needed to come out now for the United States, or the United States was going to go down with the insolvent Federal Reserve. Okay, so in that same month into July 2014, I forget his name. It's a brilliant YouTube gentleman. It goes by Friedman. Some guy named Friedman, a dark-skinned guy. He's like a sovereign type guy. He did an expose of clearly what happened after this gentleman told these people to bring the gold out of hiding. Because right in that same month of July, there was a lawsuit performed by the U.S. government to of $14 trillion, suing a particular family for $14 trillion in gold bullion. And he did a long expose about it, for a few weeks. And it was really informative to me. And this is confirming it right here. It said the gentleman told the dude in Tokyo, okay, on July 16, 2014, I told the U.S. Defense Attaché in Tokyo that General Eisenhower had set aside the world's gold for the world's people, and that it needed to come out, or the United States will go down with the Federal Reserve. See? Okay, well, that makes sense. The banking cartel that the Federal Reserve belongs to owns just about all of the television stations, newspapers, and magazines, and censors the news. The United States will lose its allies, and the Federal Reserve note will crash unless American citizens recognize the rot in their country that the Federal Reserve System is causing. When the Federal Reserve refused to return Germany's gold, that was an act of war. That is why the second largest business website posted my interview about the German military helicopter buzzing the U.S. consulate in Frankfurt. And then he proves that he said that with another link. Translation is at another link because it's in German. It's written in German. Who else is claiming the world's gold? Crooks and imposters are trying to ignore the statute of limitations, which has eliminated any other claims on the world's gold after it was cloaked in secrecy for 50 years under the bilateral MINESFIELD breakthrough successor agreement. Date Monday, 21st, July 2014 at 6:35 p.m. I don't understand that. It's showing which time zone it is, which is plus 0800 time zone. Subject regarding some strange claims from Wolfgang Struck. It was also a CC to Howie, and it was also given to Karen Hudes. Okay, now Karen Hudes, spelled Karen, last name Hudes, is a one of these people who are high ranking, high level financial power, brilliance or intelligence. You know what I'm saying? So she's an older white lady, and she's privy about all these things on an intimate level. So you can go to YouTube and look up her videos. She knows all about this stuff too. Dear Karen, I can only second the motion. That one is outrageous, but it finds takers. Wolfgang. On Monday, July 21st, 2014 at 3:51 p.m., Karen Hudes wrote, "You are mistaken. That is not his last will. That is a forgery. I am blocking you. Goodbye." What the world? Let me see. Also, this is an email. Claiming to be from Wolfgang Struck. I can only second the motion. Dear Karen, I can only second the motion. That one is outrageous, but it finds takers. And then signed Wolfgang. Okay. And then Karen Hudes wrote back, "You are mistaken. That is not his last will. That is a forgery. I am blocking you. Goodbye." So you either block the real Wolfgang Struck, who's the beneficiary of all this crap, or you block an imposter. Okay. So now from Howie, subject regarding some strange claims, he wrote Monday 21st July 2014 at 12:14 in the morning. I mean, it's got to be, that's the afternoon, 12:14 in the afternoon, which is clearly before Karen Hudes wrote back, and it's before he even got the email from Wolfgang Struck, which is ridiculous. So it's pissing me off that the time is not adding up. Anywho, this is to Karen Hudes. Is there any way to retrieve the gold back to Philippines? Have you seen the last will of Marcos? Okay, so that makes sense. He wrote Karen Hudes first, and then people started writing back. Okay, kindly keep my name confidential. Okay, americankabuki.blogspot.co.uk/2013/01/last-will-and-Ferdinand.html. I'm finna hit that button right now. The document is trying to connect to that. I'm gonna allow that to happen just because she said that's not his last will, it's a perjury, I'm blocking you by. So why is she so pissed off about that? I don't know, but I hit that button. Okay, now date Monday at 6, same day, 21st July 4th, 2014 at 6:40 p.m. Subject regarding reverse key program from Wolfgang to Karen Hudes and Sissy Nick. Oh my God, OMG, where did they get all this from? Signed WS for Wolfgang Struck. On Monday, July 21st, 2014 at 3:53 p.m. Karen Hudes wrote, I am doing no such thing. Henceforth, you are blocked. Okay, so she blocked old buddy before he wrote back, where did you get all this mess from? Okay, so they need to put this in the order in which the emails went out, in the time orders. It's pissing me off. Okay, dates: Sunday, July 20th, July 20th, 2014, at 2100 hours is why can't I think? 9:35 p.m. on the timeline. The time is the time, Eastern Central, Western, and all that crap. The time is negative 0700. Okay, from Nick, the subject regarding reverse key program, to Karen Hudes. We thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule and reading our email. The only signature we have is the monarch butterfly, and you can verify that to the World Bank. Best regards, Nick. Okay, so now the monarch butterfly got to be that Princess Isabel or whatever. That's just, could be someone else. I don't care. On Sunday, July 20th, 2014, at 9:17 p.m. Karen Hudes, my response is as follows. You have no signature authority over the global debt facility. Please do not waste my time. Date: Sunday, July 20th, 2014 at 8:02. Same thing, negative 0700. From Nick, subject regarding reverse key program, to Karen Hudes. Madam, the attachment that I sent you is only for references regarding on your mission on the issue that you are trying to resolve, on the unraveling the secret of the key program. Below, as mentioned by the author, it is said that the value of the combined accounts may exceed centillions. Okay, so a centillion. Okay, let me explain to you what a centillion is. 1 million has 6 zeros, a 1 and 6 zeros. 1 billion has a 1 and 9 zeros. 1 trillion has a 1 and 12 zeros. 1 quadrillion has a 1 and 15 zeros. 1 centillion fifteen zeros for a quadrillion. Oh, I don't want to lie to you because I don't want to say it's after the quadrillion, when it could be after it could be 10 instead of 5. That's fine. Let's find out. Centillion. Go to Google right here. Pop in centillion. Plural centillions, as after a numeral centillion, a cardinal number represented in the U.S. by followed by 303 zeros. Okay, so a centillion is the say a million is 1, billion is 2, trillion is 3, quadrillion is 4, a quintillion is 5, a hextillion is 6, a septillion is 7, an octillion is 8, and then there's a 9-tillion, and then there's the centillion. The centillion is a 1 with 303 zeros behind it, and then Great Britain by 1 followed by 600 zeros. Okay, so I just wanted to make that clear, how much we're talking about here. Okay, so let me read this again, and you know what a centillion is. It's a 1 with 303 zeros behind it, and however many commas that takes. Madam, the attachment that I sent you is only for references regarding on your mission on the issue that you are trying to resolve, on the unraveling the secret of the key program. That's in quotation marks below, as mentioned by the author. It is said that the value of the combined accounts may exceed centillions, plural. Okay, more than enough to reform the world's decaying economic conditions, which means that the beneficiaries of the global debt facility are the inhabitants of this planet, as you mentioned. Regards, Nick. This document went to all of the UN missions in New York. Okay. These letters went to all the embassies in Tokyo. Okay. He's proven everything with links. So, of course, they received it because they're all liars. This memo went to the chair of the development committee and the executive directors of the World Bank. Proof. Raymond Bennell. Proof. Scott Lennon. Proof. Recognize that I am authorized to certify on behalf of the Bretton Woods institutions for purposes of photograph 6 in the bilateral MINESFIELD breakthrough successor agreement. Okay, now that's the end of that. Now the purpose of hoarding this money, let me explain to you what the purpose of hoarding the money is, because I don't think you realize. You say, why would they want to hide all the money if it fixes everything? Okay, they don't want the entire satanic system, their resources 100% vagina. That's what they base all markets based on, the price of vagina. Okay, now, and water, of course, because they want to hoard the water. But you know, in the Father's world, the weights and measures are based on strictly water only. Water causes the crops and just, you know, flourishes all carnal life, you know, as growing life and stuff like that. So the reason that they hoard the money is to keep that price, is the price of vagina, as low as possible, so that you got one guy over here who has $1 million and he can afford to have sex with 30,000 women in 1 year if he wants to. You see what I mean? So that is the purpose of hoarding the money, so that they can have sex slaves, male and female, any age. Okay. Now, freeing the money up, and those same sex slaves would have access to water and food, so they would not need to have sex in order to receive water and food, which is represented by the $150 that they got paid, or the $500 that they got paid to have sex. So they take the money that they have sex with and go buy food. If they have enough food for a week, or they have enough food for a month, then they use the $500 to go buy clothes and jewelry and things like this, you know, cars and stuff like this. But it's all based on the food necessity of the person who doesn't know as much as the intelligent person over here who's hoarding all the money, and they're intelligent strictly to be oppressive. So they're not intelligent enough to uh, free the funds, make the people not want for food, and there'll be plenty enough food. So they fool everyone into thinking that uh, evolution is real, so that you can say there's too many people on the planet, so there's not enough food to feed everyone on the planet. So therefore, since there's not enough food to feed everyone on the planet, do you want to starve or do you want to kill 1,000 people? That's the choice that they give them. And then they say, oh, well, since I'm so stupid, I'd rather kill 1,000 people because clearly you're telling me the truth. Because they're retarded. They don't have any type of intelligence whatsoever. Okay, so that's what's going on in that arena. All right, so let me go ahead and move on to the next set of information here. Wolfgang Struck represents the beneficiary by deed of assignment or waiver of interest and rights, duly signed by Marcos. What's that say? Reverend? REV period, DR period, Floro E. Garcia, Reverend Dr. Floro E. Garcia. That is Marco's alias, one of Marco's alias. Mr. Struck is also the court-appointed administrator of the Tilano case 3957-P of RTC Pasay City, with the right to claim any and every account or deposit in the name of the late president or Jose Antonio Diaz or Severino Garcia STA. Romana. Attached, waiver of interest and rights, dated January 7, 1986. Let me take a break here to see. Okay, great. There's no one watching. So I'm just basically just recording myself for later, I guess, conversation maybe. All right. Moving on to page 2, or this might be page 1. Let me check here. Well, there's no page numbers. Okay. So I'm reading Tangapan, hold on a second. Tangapan NG Pangulo NG Philippines, which is, in English, Office of the President of the Philippines. Okay, I gotta take a break here because I gotta use the bathroom. Just wait 1 second. Okay, hopefully you were one of the smart guys who skipped 2-3 minutes till I came back. Okay, now let me read this here. This is a letter from the Office of the President of the Philippines titled Waiver of Interest and Rights. It is dated January 7, 1986. Know all men by these present. In the name of God, that I, Ferdinand E. Marcos, and or Fr. Jose Antonio M. Diaz, alias Severino G. Sta. Romana, Jose Antonio Diaz de la Paz, Jose Proctasio Mercado, Renato T. Sta. Romana, Jose Antonio Pinilla, Jose Antonio de la Paz, Tiburcio V. Marcos, Leo Steve Marcos, William Villamore Morales, Tan Ka Ki is one and the same person of legal age, Filipino, and with postal address Manila, Philippines, are hereby in furtherance of the deed of assignment on September 6, 1985, I hereby executed in favor of Reverend Dr. Floro E. Garcia, as my assignee in all my right and interest over bank, international bank deposits, and other assets deposited in the following. Number one, that aside using my true name as above a state, I have using various names for personal reasons, security and preservation of my properties, real personal cash slash money in different country, treasure, and other forms of bank deposits, which were as follows. Ferdinand E. Marcos, Jose Antonio, all those whole bunch of aliases, more than what I just read. And then it's a certified true copy. And it's stamped certified true copy, and it's also stamped Mag Tanagal C VR, the OTC branch clerk of court. And then I can't read the rest of it. And then it's stamped authentication. And then it's stamped as recording is authentic. And then it has its thumbprint and signatures. That during my lifetime, I had acquired various properties, as above stated, and presently on, let me interject here, because remember, his code name is TVM-LSM-666, so that's important that, I don't know, you say 666, a lot of stuff runs through my mind. That during my lifetime, I had acquired various properties as above stated and presently on deposit with the corresponding banking institution, such as A, Philippines, Metro Manila, B, New York, USA, C, California, USA, D, Hong Kong, E, China, F, Taiwan, G, Singapore, F, I, Switzerland, J, Argentina, Brazil, K, Germany, L, Europe, M, Asian countries, N, Australia, O, Malaysia, P, Indonesia, Q, United Kingdom, and others which, however, may be supported by the records, papers/instrument itself on file. That the existence and deposits of the above mentioned properties are subject to the laws of the place they are found and the rules and regulations of the bank for its release and disposition upon my claims for the withdrawal thereon. That I am the account holder / owner of these assets deposited in International Bank of Europe and Asian and other countries and United States of America. That I, a signer, certify that I am a legal and lawful owner of these assets represented are of non-criminal origin. Okay, so we read that in the agreement that they exonerated themselves of theft, but of course, this family has no legal claim to those, no legal or lawful claim to those resources, to gold, gems, art, and all the other things from the temple of, from Solomon's temple, and and the temple of the rebuilt temple in Israel. Well, and the treasury and the various treasuries that were handed down through the Israelite heritage as their inheritance. Okay, so they're hoarding our inheritance, and we have to return to the law, statutes, and commandments to become a nation, and then we have to appoint a leader over the nation. We have to free ourselves from the current oppressor, which is incrementally been happening. The UN decided that slavery is a crime against humanity, which is can be redressed by the crime that happened in the past. So saying that if I do something that's legal now and it becomes a crime against humanity tomorrow, I can be prosecuted for what I did the day before, because it's a crime against humanity. That's what a crime against humanity does. It holds people accountable for past atrocities that have not yet been redressed. Okay. That Reverend Dr. Flora E. Garcia is true legal assignee, beneficiary, successor, and administrator of these estates. To mobilize the development of the humanitarian project in the Philippines, Asia, and other parts of the world. These assets described and acquired in assignment for owner of the record, Ferdinand E. Marcos, and or Fr. Jose Antonio M. Diaz, through legal and lawful transaction, contracts, and agreement. So, for the time being, they can do this because Israel had died, and we just recently become resurrected. So now that we're alive, we have to announce that we're alive publicly and formally. And being alive undermines this Gentile man's claim to the resources that Solomon had mined around the world. And so that gives us a legitimate standing on the world stage to redress these resources and claim them. And Bible prophecy says that the nations are going to bring us all the old heirlooms and bring day and night. The doors to be open day and night for them to return our assets to us, and so that we can rule properly and allocate those funds fairly which they are not doing. Okay. That I am of sound mind and fully aware of the bounties. Okay, so this is, okay. Like I told you, when I was reading the other thing, hold on a second. Okay, when I was reading the other thing, there was a mention of last will and testament. Okay, that's it. This it. Let me segue into the last will and testament over here, because I wanted to read that. Last will and testament of Ferdinand Marcos, president of the Philippines. Okay. American Kabuki. I typed this in by hand using the original PDF. I had plus some images I enhanced in Photoshop to bring out some of the text details. I don't guarantee I have all of the zeros correct in some of these numbers, but I did my best to get them right. What little text I could not decipher, I left as unclear. For each instance of word that is illegible due to the UN mailroom stamp. This PDF has been on my hard drive for years, but I didn't have a context for it until now. The bank code names meant nothing to me when I first got it. The PDF I had follows this and is hard to read. This is January 31st, 2013. Last will and testament. Note to all these present that I, Ferdinand E. Marcos, would diffuse code name AAA-777 and spiritual king Solomon of Israel, of legal age, married to Emita Romualdez Marcos Y Ongpin, president of the Philippine Islands and general holder of the following assets and properties entrusted to me by the eternal creator for the benefit of the people of the Philippine Islands, to with a financial provinces with AAA account number FM-01-777 worth of 120. Okay. 120 followed by 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39, 42, 45, 48, 51, 54, 57, 60, 63, 66, 69, 72, 75, 78, 81. 120 followed by 81 zeros of worth of money. Spiritual Wonder Boy account number AM221-33334. That's 4 3s and a 4. Worth of 800 followed by 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39, 42, 45, 48, 51, 54, 57, 60, 63, 66, 69, 72, 75, 78, 81, 84, 87, 90, 93, 96, 99, 102, 105, 108, 111, 114, 117, 120, 123, 126, 129, 132, 135, 138, 141, 144, 147, 150, 153, 156, 159, 162, 165, 168, 171, 174, 177, 180, 183, 186, 189, 192, 195, 198, 201, 204, 207, 210, 213, 216, 219, 222, 225, 228, 231, 234, 237, 240, 243. So that's 800 followed by 243 zeros of money. Dollars. There's a dollar sign. Nope. That's $800 to the 10 to the 243 power if I counted the zeros correctly. That's a lot of lumpia. Okay. And Alpha Omega account number 999-222-434-9 worth of dollars that directly intended for the welfare and benefit of the people of the Philippine Islands. B. Lands, provinces with original certificate of title number 779 under survey plan number 11-4509 with constant measurement of 451,000 square kilometers of the total land area covering the islands of Luzon to the islands of Sumba, and registered under Lands Registration Act number 496 in accordance with the provisions ratified by and between the United States of America and Spain dated December 10, 1898, held in Paris, France, with distinguished map, made in old printed from time of King Bernardo Carpio, following bought through cheating of Spanish colonies, until bought by Dr. Jose Rizal illegally, sold by Spain to the United States of America, illegal, sold by General Emilio Arconado to the U.S. authorities, and brought by the undersigned to the United States of America, worth $20 billion or 10,000 metric tons of gold bars that preserved beneath the World Trade Center in New York City, USA, that directly intended for the welfare and benefit of the people of the Philippine Islands. And C. Miscellaneous authorities, provinces such as 1. Authority to freeze and defreeze against existing mother and extensive accounts. 2. Authority to monetize and demonetize in international and local currencies. 3. Authority to lock and unlock against existing mother and extensive accounts. 4. Authority to cease and decease and resurrect against mother and extensive accounts. 5. Authority to represent and expel signatures of foreign authorities and the undersigned. 6. Authority to mediate and direct international mover against existing mother and extensive accounts. 7. Authority to audit and sustain audit against existing mother and extensive accounts. 8. Authority to modify and revive against existing mother and extensive accounts, and authority as keepers, authenticator, and arranger of all physical precious commodities such as gold, diamond, silver, and platinum, and 10, authority to engrave and unengage printing, printing and monetary currencies worlds plural, have after having duly sworn to in accordance with law, hereby stated that history, that the undersigned was sole holder of said assets and properties that entrusted through channeled events from King Bernardo Carpio or spiritual judge Samson of Israel, who shared his testimony over said treasures of the Philippine Islands through papers of his legal deposits under White Mongolia account, and who acquired from foreign traders an Alpha Omega ring with old text printed paper from the time of Adam, into Noah, into Prophet Moses, Judge Samson, King David, and King Solomon of Israel, that the undersigned hereunto will be transmitted directly to Anthony Santiago Martin with international recognized code name and number, Spiritual Wonder Boy, and AM-01, and Spiritual King David of Israel, and legitimate husband of Lynn Grace H. Medina with recognized code name and number, Spiritual Maria Christina, and C1-C2, and Spiritual Bathsheba of Israel, which those treasures way back time from year 965, I'm assuming that's AD, were agreed upon and executed by and between King Carpio and foreign traders such as Mongols, Koreans, Indians, Malays, Japanese, and Chinese, indicated that in exchange of trade and loan from the Philippine Islands, which the islands were very rich from physical gold, silver, diamond, and platinum mines, that those traders must be paid twice of their actual loan materials as sample in one piece of gold with 1 gram must be paid to twice of gold per gram, and from year 965 to year 1000 AD. Mongolia raiders traded and agreed such nature of trading in the Philippine Islands until they planned to rock and invade the Philippine Islands, and from time being, foreign invaders through Mongolia and Chinese counterparts were retrieved. Some remaining papers left by King Carpio stating that before he offered sacrifice to block and hinder rolling stones in Mount Sierra in the town of Montalban and a nearby town of Rodriguez Rizal province, he left those treasures to the people of the Philippine Islands, and he stood Dalituna or Maria Banaha, a lady shaman of Mount Banaha in Quezon province, or spiritual Delilah, to take charge as trustee over said treasures, and as time has passed by, Mongolian in aid of Philippine treasures invaded more lands in the Asian region. Then, when they took unpredictable empires, they landed throughout Asia regions. Then from year 1206 to 1294, they invaded and landed more land in the Western regions, including the Holy Land and Eastern Europe, and some in the remote area of the American continents, until Mongolia in their reoccupation of more lands in the world, leaving said Carpio documents in China after they receipt downfall on year 1290s until the Western civilization correspond in invasion of more lands outside their area, and Spain was one of among European expedition and adventurer to conquest lands outside Spain, first in Latin America, then therefore in the Philippine Islands. Spain and other European counterparts learned that those Mongolian treasures, the used to be as retrieved from Eastern Europe, were sustained with Mongolian raiders, but they didn't know that those treasures were partly influenced by Carpio's treasures. Those European invaders used that Carpio's treasures to invade more land outside of Europe and Spain through cheating with blood compact by and between King Sikatuna and King Sigala of Bahol and General Miguel Lopez de Legazpi of Spain and Mexico, dated March 16, 1565, recovered some Carpio's treasures in Bahol province as acquired by Melecta Bali or Maria Cristina, a lady shaman of Mount Canloan in Negros province, through Dali Dalictuna, as said province was encountered Great Depression, so the shared some fiscal and food aid from Maria Cristina and Maria Banaja to recover from hungriness and leaving pain and heartbreaks among Filipinos until Dr. Jose Rizal, or spiritual prophet Moses of Israel, born and spiritual David, in aid of great creator. Ascend young Rizal until the ended scholastic profession in University of St. Thomas, leaving suffering, unfairness, pain, and distress over Spanish deans and priests until he met Maria Clara del Prado, or transferred spiritual power of Maria Banasha, then hand over an Alpha Omega ring, leaving a message that he must be recovered documents of King Carpio in custody of the Chinese Emperor Wangzhou. Then Dr. Rizal, unclear, islands, went to Hong Kong, where Emperor Hongzhou visited Hong Kong, that under the custody of the unclear, Dr. Rizal successfully gained that Carpio's documents. Then he fled Hong Kong to European cities such as Madrid, Vienna, London, Paris, and Berlin with unclear, carrying some miraculous gold mines. After Dr. Rizal European travels, he went back to the islands. Spanish rulers there persecuted him and put pain to him. Persecution of Spain regime until he decided to execute death penalty to gunshots on December 30th, 1896 in Bagumbayan, now called Luncia, in Manila. And before Dr. Rizal died in unfortunate execution, he left those treasures for the benefit of the people of the Philippine Islands, as he stood to be a trustee over said treasures of Carpio, and Rizal to M.A. period Epifania M. Coronado dash Castillos, known as Mana dash unclear. Sinuquan and spiritual Saint Mary a material recognized mother of Jesus, and through his death, the people of the Philippine Islands firmed to be revolted against the Spanish colonies. And from the date of Dr. Rizal's death, execution until obtaining temporary liberation on June 12, 1898, Filipino revolutionists fought against the Spaniards until they overthrown in the islands, but the American authorities entered the islands after their ratification of treaty with Spain under the Treaty of Paris, dated December 10th, 1898. In Paris, France, and Spain sold the islands to the United States of America worth 20 billion, wait, 20 million American dollars, with an old Philippine map documents printed by King Carpio, and said map was entitled to Titulo de Propiedad Numero 4136. And time and again, the American authorities reoccupied the islands using that treaty in the absence of the Filipino representatives. And unfortunately, General Emilio Aguinaldo sold Titulo de Propiedad Numero 4136 that has been bought by Dr. Rizal to Spain in the sum of 20 million American dollars, that calls severely for Dr. Rizal to accuse by Spanish regime from Spanish monarchy to Spanish governor general in the islands as seditions rebellion against Spanish regime in the islands. And they immediately canceled and terminated all registered properties of Spain in the islands, including Titulo de Propiedad Numero 4136, and they initiated to resurvey the islands under survey plan number 11-4509 by virtue of the mandate instruction made by President William McKinley to General Robert Torrens and President William H. Taft of the Philippines, commissioned to resurvey the islands in order to assure their legal occupation in the islands. And after they resurveyed the islands that measured approximately more than 451,000 square kilometers, covering the islands of Luzon to the islands of Sabah, and by virtue of the Lands Registration Act number 496 enacted by the Philippine Commission led by President William H. Taft, the Philippine Islands was entitled to original certificate of title number 779 under Land Survey Plan number 11-4509 and registered under Lands Registration Act number 496. The Americans modified and developed some educational systems, views, and lifestyles among the Filipino people until World War II occurred unexpectedly, and the Axis powers decided to retaliate against the world, which they professed that they never cited by the world after World War I, and Adolf Hitler, son of Ignacio Enrique Coronado, a traitor of Dr. Jose Rizal's face alike, who went in Paris to claim Carpio's treasures for himself, managed Germany to start a global horror, and they associated with Italy and Japan. The world was horrified by the Axis powers, and they looted and alleged treasures of Europe without knowing that those were a remains of Carpio's treasures. And Dr. Rizal also saved Alpha Omega Ring in Madrid and other pertinent treasures in Spain that deposited by Dr. Rizal under White Vatican account and Axis powers were delivered those treasures to the Philippine Islands without knowing by the Filipino people through the monitory of General Tomoyuki Yamashita, son of Judge Alfonso Piggio, whom entrusted by the undersigned to take seat of the presidency from year 1970 to 1983, while the undersigned was under processional steps to deposit under time version some multiple stocks of physical precious commodities saved by King Carpio and Dr. Rizal for the benefit of the Filipino people that caused to be brought the undersigned a shame and downward against the Filipino people. Some of those treasures were hid by Axis powers and still hidden in the mountainous proper, and some under the sea of the Philippine Islands that cannot ever be allowed to touch, to retrieve and to recover, to sponsor the maturities of the multiple certified deposits by the undersigned for the Filipino people that cause to be sponsored the maturities of the multiple certified deposits by the undersigned for the Filipino people, and after World War II through UN case number 4136, some of the country claimants of said alleged looted and lost treasures by the Axis powers that reconsidered and reconfirmed by the International Court of Justice as assets and properties of King Bernardo Carpio and Dr. Jose Rizal were demanded to recover and to retrieve for their benefit of said alleged lost, looted treasures of the Axis powers, that giving all claimants petitioners an exact date of 30 years from time of execution of said case to hunt elsewhere in the world and to retrieve for the benefit of their country, and the undersigned unexpectedly went to Mount Sinukuan, town of Ararat, no, town of Arayat, Pampanga province, to meet with M.A. period Epitania M. Coronado dash Castillos or Maria Sunaquan, and he handed over the Alpha Omega ring to the undersigned and some maps of hidden Carpios and Rizal's treasures to the undersigned as surrendered by General Yamashita to her and successfully obtained by M.A. period Raymond M. Reyes or Maria Macalane, and identified as Queen Esther of Persia and Israel, and until the undersigned successfully gained office of the presidency on November 30th, 1965, and the undersigned deposited in some banks in Europe, Asia, and America, including the World Bank Group, and the undersigned defended with right that by virtue of that international court rule, the undersigned obeyed international court ruling that those treasures were intended for the benefit of the people of the Philippine Islands, and the undersigned successfully gained victory over Hanging Bridge when the international court ruled to reaffirm the conclusiveness of those certified deposits for the Filipino people. And the pleaders or petitioners never contested their plea before the statute of the international court, and they allowed to hunt within the mountainous and undersea area of the Philippine Islands, and the undersigned allowed those pleaders to hunt for nothing for sometime on year 1980, because those treasures were identified and recognized by the International Court as Carpio's and Rizal's treasures allocated for the Filipino people. And sometime on year 1976, the undersigned bought the Philippine Islands with original certificate of title number 779 under survey plan number 114509, with constant measurement of 451,000 square kilometers of the total land area covering the islands of Luzon to the islands of Sabah, and registered under Lands Registration Act number 496 in accordance with the provisions ratified by and between the United States of America and Spain, dated December 10, 1898, held in Paris, France, worth $20 billion, excessive from the original sum of $100 million, as officially priced by and to the American authorities and under federal agreement made and executed by and between President Gerald Ford and the undersigned in the White House, Washington, D.C., USA. They agreed to recognize their lost assets and properties recovered by the undersigned as assets and properties of the Filipino people that still identified as assets and properties of King Carpio. The undersigned and H.M. Queen Elizabeth II of England in the Buckingham Palace, London, England, with leaving to Queen Elizabeth the physical ancient ring of Alpha Omega, and some miscellaneous agreements made and executed by and between the undersigned of the United Nations organization and the Committee of 300 held in UN headquarters, New York, USA. Thereafter, the tragic incident of the assassination of Senator Benigno Aquino Jr. sometime on year 1983 was brought a storm of presidency that caused the undersigned to leave post to Corazon Cowango Aquino, who won through cheating and revolt without knowing that the undersigned was only entrusted to the office of presidency to Judge Pajayo, and the undersigned didn't know everything about evil deeds of Judge Pajayo to the nation, like taking $40 million credit to the World Bank Group, using a secret deal by the World Bank itself, the abuse of power of Judge Pajayo and Miss Patricia Remedios Santiago Trinidad, the acclaimed Imelda Marcos, and a proclamation of martial law without reaffirmation of the Philippine Congress, and through this the undersigned suffered more distress and disappointment among the people whom I wished to aid economic promise for their recovery upon strike of global crisis, to be expected to come in the future, but still those assets and properties that the undersigned executive executed through galleries and documents that intended all maturities of said deposits to the Filipino people. Okay, next section is general intention. Those funds upon maturities on year 2000 and beyond shall reconsider to be intended for the following development programs for the Filipino people's profits. Number one, livelihood program to set and to engage Filipino into entrepreneurship program. Number two, scholarship programs to assist all scholars to perform their schoolworks from primary to collegiate level. Number 3, healthcare programs to assist all Filipino beneficiaries to maintain good health. Number 4, disability retirement pension programs to assist all disabled retiree under pension Filipino beneficiaries to claim these benefits. Number 5, national infrastructure of urban and rural venture programs such as concrete roads, bridges, school building, hospital building, location buildings, and railway system such as ordinary railways, light rail systems, and bullet trains. Number 6, agricultural and irrigation development programs to assist all farmers and other agricultural workers to maintain and sustain their demands and needs. Number 7, mining programs to be chosen by above mentioned authorized party. Number 8, industrial and other economic matters to assist more Filipino to perform workforce throughout Philippine islands for their daily needs. Abolition. The undersigned do hereby abolish at all costs and effect Miss Patricia R.S. Trinidad, acclaimed Imelda Marcos, Mr. Fidel Valdez Ramos, Ignacio Enrique Coronado, Judge Alfonso Pajayo, Al Vincent Gook Bersalis, Pajayo's appointed trustee, General Juan Ponce Enrile, in relay, Mr. Lucio Tan, Mr. John Jocongo, Mr. Henry Sy Sr., Mr. Jane Augusto Zabel de Ayala, Mr. Eduardo M. Cojuanco, Mr. Ferdinand Marcos E. Santiago, acclaimed Bong Bong Marcos, which the original one has already died sometime on year 1975. Miss Amy Laxon E. Santiago was also known as Amy Marcos. Mr. Demetrio Bonda Garcia, Miss Irene Cawango E. Santiago, also known as Irene Marcos, and other trustee names recognized by the undersigned, both local and foreign trustee, including the Republic of the Philippines, and all maturities of above said assets and properties shall wholeheartedly be decided by the undersigned to modify in the future, and all accounts, either mother accounts and extensive accounts, shall at all legal force, cost, and effect by automatically modified and interlocked on or before the entrance of the year 2000 into new modified mother to be handled solely by Anthony Santiago Martin or Spiritual Wonder Boy for the benefit of the people of the Philippine Islands, and all aforesaid fiscal maturities shall at all legal costs, force, and effect be automatically transmitted to any local registered banks in the Philippine Islands or to banks to be erected and established by Anthony Santiago Martin. Acknowledgement. As the undersigned agreed this agreement, full will, good faith, and authority, and as critically health emancipation, the undersigned do hereby given this acknowledgement to Anthony Santiago Martin with international recognized code name and number, Spiritual Wonder Boy and AM-01, and Spiritual King David of Israel, and his legitimate wife Lynn Grace H. Medina with recognized code name and number, Spiritual Maria Christina and C1-C2 and spiritual Bathsheba of Israel as duly authorized signatory to execute and exercise full rights of authority exercised by the undersigned for the betterment of the people of the Philippine Islands, and no opposition or resistance from the undersigned are subject to be invoked, and no physical precious commodities, physical and authentic left or right thumbprint from the undersigned and official seal of the office of the president and notary seal are eternally required as to prove the undersigned identification, and the undersigned only require Anthony Santiago Martin to present or submit to the United Nations diplomatic office in the Philippine Islands a copy of his certificate of live birth and his birthmarks, such as his small mole in the left corner of his nose, and a small fat crab placed at the back of his neck. And the undersigned shall recognize, reconsider, and reconfirm the validity and authenticity of this form, either an original or duplicate form, and submit to the United Nations diplomatic office in the Philippine Islands for further records. In witness of faith whereof we have hereunto signed this form without any witness this December 20th, 1988 at the Buckingham Palace, London, Great Britain. Marco's left-hand signature is right there. It says President Ferdinand Edgerlin Marcos, signed in left hand. And then his right hand signature. H.E. President Ferdinand Edgerlin, signed in right hand. Notary public signature. Before me, a notary public was executed without dry seal and hereby executed with free acting deeds. Marco's signature. Again, H.E. President Ferdinand Edgerlin Marcos, attorney and authority. Original copy of Marco's will is downloaded, I think, in 2008 below. And the original copy is typed. And it's typed, and it says the same thing, and it shows all the same situations that I just read. Okay, so that was very interesting because like I already been known, they took Solomon's gold, and Wolfgang Stroke was the beneficiary of that, and this is staying in this particular family though, you see, and it said that it was stolen and illegally sold to the United States and all this stuff. So that's very interesting. That's good. That was a good read. Okay, now I'm gonna get back to the waiver of interest and rights. So I was right here at okay. That I am of sound mind and fully aware of the bounties of the functions of my memories and recollections of events, and have not been convicted of any crime which carries a penalty of civil interdictions under the revised penal code of the Philippines, nor possesses the disqualifications for the preparations and execution of the absolute deed of assignment under the provisions on the law of successions and beneficiary embodied under the Civil Code of the Philippines, that I hereby declare Reverend Dr. Floro E. Garcia as my true legal owner, beneficiary, and successor of all my properties as above mentioned, that upon my death, that assigner declare these assets under assignment are in custody of the International Bank of Asian, Europe of the United States of America, and as to the host of my acknowledge and record are deposit are free and close any and encumbrance of date of maturity that this assets the deposit would assign interest per depository, in witness whereof the assigner have caused this deed executed and signed by setting their hand hereto and affixing their respective signature this 7th day of January year 1986 at Metro Manila, Philippines. Okay, when I'm reading, it sounds kind of funny, like I'm country. I mean, I do have a country accent, but what I'm saying is, like for example, it says here, that the assigner declared these assets under assignment are in custody of the International Bank of European Bank of Asian, Europe, and the United States of America, and as to the host of my knowledge and record are deposit. See, and record are deposit are free and close any and encumbrance of date of maturity that this assets the deposit with assigned interest per depository. You see, so but I'm reading it verbatim. Now there's a signature here, and I mean, I don't know the significance of signing vertically like that, but I think it turns this document into a money order. Well, I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. Then it has an authentication stamp, a thumbprint, certified true copy stamp, and then Mag Gold C. Villiard stamp, Officer Branch of the Clerk stamp. And then it's something they let it. Okay. Republic of the Philippines, waiver of interest and rights, City of Manila, Metro Manila. I, Ferdinand E. Marcos, and or FR period Jose Antonio M. Diaz, AK, and then all his aliases again, a whole bunch of them. And he signed over top of his aliases. And it says another alias that I didn't read before, TVTM-7- White Stallion 777-AAA-MCD. And another alias is C-1-C-2-19-21-777. And then another alias is TVTM-LSM-666, owner/holder of the umbrella code 010-22-74-OA R.S. 9827809/Manila A278098 assigner. Okay, Attorney Victor Natuda signed here. Attorney Gil the Guzman signed here. Then you got a thumbprint with some initials over the thumbprint. Authentication. Undersigned, notary public for and in the city of Manila, hereby certified that the foregoing was a legitimate original document signed in his presence after presenting indicated therein July 14th, 1986. Document Roman numeral 9, page Roman numeral 6, book number Roman numeral 3, series of 1986. Certified true copy stamp, Mag Tanago C. Villar stamp, executed branch clerk of court stamp, attorney Ricardo E. Reyes signature, notary public until December 31st, 1987. PTR period number 15949, issued at City of Manila on January 22nd, 1986. And then an authentication stamp. Okay. Special authority. To whom these presents may concern. This would certify that I am authorizing Mr. Wolfgang Struck and or Ms. Jeanette Jen Ortega, jointly or alone, to negotiate and or engage with any person, firm or corporation, whether public or private, on matters related to or connected to my rightful position as sole assignee, sole successor, in the interest and rights beneficiary and owner of the vast historical assets deposited in banks and central banks all over the world, including the Philippines, and registered with the Bank for International Settlement, with the IMF, the World Bank, and the Central Bank of the Philippines under Master Code JPR. Wow. I'm going to have to write this one down. That's Master Code. Let's see right here. Master Code equals JPR -01-4. New asset owner code name. New asset owner code name TVM-TVTM-LSM-666. It said, this man said that all this stuff that he stole from Solomon, what he tried to make a legitimate claim that he's a son of Solomon, and that the inheritance was passed on to him. But in any case, the world recognizes that it belongs to him, or that's their agreement, that it belongs to the guy that died. And he left Mr. Wolfgang Struck and or Miss Jeanette Jen Ortega. Oh, I gotta write her name down. Who that? Miss, I don't even know who that is. Jeanette Jen Ortega. Both of these people, jointly or alone, may negotiate and or engage with any person, firm or corporation, whether public or private, on matters related to or connected with my rightful position as sole assignee, so sole successor in interests and rights, beneficiary and owner of the vast historical assets deposited in banks and central banks all over the world, including the Philippines, and registered with the Bank or International Settlement, with the IMF, the World Bank, and the Central Bank of the Philippines under Master Code, what I just said, JPR -01-4, new asset owner code name TVTM-LSM-666. This authority shall include representations in the matter of the original. Hold on. Let me pause this for a second. This authority shall include representations in the matter of the original title of ownership of land all over the Philippine archipelago. This authority shall include representations in the matter of the original title of ownership of land all over the Philippine archipelago, the OCT number 01-4 in the name of Prince Julian McLeod Telano, also known as TVM-LSM-666, confirmed and judicially reconstituted in land registration case civil case number 3957-P of branch 111 of RTC Passay, order of July 11, 2001. Of course, because once that happens, of course, you got to do 9/11. You got to, or you got no choice, because you want to steal everything. You want to conquer everything. Okay, which execution is illegally and unjustly blocked by preliminary injunction in the Court of Appeals. Case number 70014, and that's in Quezon City, April 6, 2011. It's signed by Reverend Dr. Floro E. Garcia with his thumbprint. Wow, it shrunk on me. Oops. I did something. I lost my place here. Okay, here we go. Okay. The confirmé signed by Wolfgang Struck and Jen Ortega. Witness is attorney Godofredo Cabildo, and it's signed by him. Certificate of authority. Greeting to whom these presents shall come. This certificate of authority certify that Reverend Dr. Floro E. Garcia is the owner holder of the umbrella account code 010-22-74-0-A around the world, which was registered at Lloyd of London, transaction code 7th White Stallion, AAA-777-MCD, security code 5020, color code yellow green, yellow rainbow, with global immunity redemption code number 1738-777. Certificate of authority. Greeting to whom these presents shall come. That's a lot of codes being dished out there. Okay. With global immunity redemption code number 1738-77. Approved by Postfash, Zurich, Switzerland, agreement 1969. Therefore, by virtue of trust article number 0115 as amended, approved in secrecy of deposit law, Republic Act number 1405 as amended, and trust receipt law, PD number 115, was approved. As you are chief transactor, signatories, you are authorized to coordinate any banking institution around the world based in article number 1.1, grantor declaration, and article number 2.2 and paragraph 2.3 unanimously approved. Done in Honolulu, United States of America, the 9th day of June, 1987. Confirmed by Reverend Dr. Floro E. Garcia, TVTM-7 Stallion-AAA-77-MCD. So, it also has 3 fingerprints right there with initials in the fingerprints. And then it has Ferdinand E. Marcos with his signature, owner, holder, grantor, authentication, undersigned, notary public, pour, and in the city of Manila, hereby certify that the foregoing was illegitimate. It was illegitimate. They tried to change illegitimate to something else. Original document signed in his presence after presenting indicated therein. July 14, 1987, December 31st, 1987, PTR period number 15949, and all that other stuff, where it's located at. It has 2 stamps with look like signatures or something over the stamps. Attorney Ricardo Reyes, Notary Public, issued at City of Manila on January 22nd, 1987. Certified true copy stamp and the other stamp. Matogo Lolo C. Villar, executed branch clerk of court. City of Manila, Philippines, February 10th, 2010. To whom it may concern, this was certified that I, Reverend Dr. Floro E. Garcia, have today specially authorized my representative, Mr. Wolfgang Struck, a German national, with German passport number 542710440, valid until June 2016, to confer, to negotiate, and to engage with any person, firm, or institution, whether public or private, on all matters related to certain historical cash accounts and gold deposits in German, Swiss, and other European banks, including the Bank for International Settlement in Basel, Switzerland, and European Central Bank in Frankfurt, Germany, all in the name of Jose Antonio Diaz, aka Severino Garcia Sta. Romana, or any of their known and registered aliases, particularly through in the name of Clem T. Santiago or Clement T. Santiago in Dresdner Bank, Commerce Bank AG, and Standard Chartered Trust in Frankfurt, Germany. In accordance with the line of the many deeds of assignment from the late original depositor Jose Antonio Diaz to me, and in my favor, final disposition and signature shall be done in time by the undersigned assignee and lawful successor in rights. It is signed by Wolfgang Struck, conforme, signed by Reverend Dr. Floro E. Garcia, the grantor, also with the 3 fingerprints and initials, signed in the presence of Attorney Godofredo D. Cabildo, and his signature, and Attorney Epifanio C. Buen. Okay, so we're going to be exploring this in the weeks to come, in order to, because we got to June 2016. I'm pretty sure they're going to reassign Wolfgang Struck after 2016 to stay the beneficiary for another said amount of years, maybe 30 years or so, because he started in 1986 and his tenure is up in 2016. It may move to someone else, but I'm suspecting. I would like to have elections and appointees, and so that we can have so that we can appoint a leader over Israel, as I tried to clarify to your boy General Yohana. I called into a show one time and told him, I said everybody in Israel are princes, and knowing that everyone in Israel are princes, then we have equal say in the future of the nation. So, in order to have equal say in the future of the nation, in the Bible says that we will appoint a leader over us, and then we will free ourselves from the oppressor, and then we will own the oppressor. So the only way to own humans is to pay them. You have to pay. You have to buy humans. So the only way to buy them is to have money, and the only way to get the money is by the Father. We have to become manifest of the Father, the Almighty, who is Jesus. In Revelations 1 calls Jesus the Almighty. So he has to become manifest in us. Then we have to apply the judgments to Israel. Then a certain number of amount of people, or have to become aware and effective in applying those judgments in order to lead our nation. And then we're going to be leading an innumerable multitude who is 1/3 of Israel, who is located around the entire earth. So we inherit the earth and all that other stuff. But in order to do these things, you have to do it in a national way, an international way, global way, with a biblical mindset applied to stating claims. And because the system in place is built by the Father, and we have to take it over. You call it hijack or whatever you want to call it, but we're going to righteously take it over the way that it's supposed to be done, and it's going to be ran the way it's supposed to be ran, which is righteously and fairly and holy, which is not being done currently. So I hope this was informative for the first series. If someone can help me understand how to, because I wanted people to read along with me, but I don't know how to screen share. If you can show me how to screen share, and anything else that will be helpful with the development of this conversation in the weeks to come, that'll be helpful. My phone number is 910-489-7849. You can call me anytime and let me know how this works. So you can write me on YouTube, or you can write me on my Facebook. Is Dava Amiel-Oz. It's DAVAHEMIELOZ. So we'll call from on the Prince of Israel. Signing off.